Hello and welcome back to Monday nights here at Invictus Racing League, and it is the IRL F1 League with myself, Gareth, and of course Sab. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We are here round 5 in Germany. Last week was a very interesting race, wasn't it? The two title contenders at the moment, Harry and Gamer, both didn't score, so no one could really capitalise on each other, so that allowed Hercules to pick up his first race victory of the season. And tonight it'll be Hercules' home race, and he'll be hoping to continue that form of last week and take a victory in his home track tonight.
Yeah, very much so. The man that lives just 30 minutes down the road from, of course, tonight's hosting circuit, and that is the Hockenheim Ring in Germany. It's a 4.5 kilometre, 2.8 mile long circuit. We've got 34 laps tonight. Pole position, left hand side of the track. That is a very short run down to turn one, only 310 metres. The top speed around here, they'll be hitting upwards of 193 miles an hour on that long stretch on the exit turn 4 through the Parabolica to the turn 6 hairpin, which on lap 1 can always get a little bit tasty, so watch out for that one. It's 53.5% full throttle around this track. That is much different from what we saw with its original layout back in through the 60s through to the 90s, which of course went in that beautiful blast into the forests there. So yeah, we're now in this much more stadium-like layout. 1240 metres is that stretch from turn 4 down to turn 6. Gear changes is 40 over the lap distance, and over a 50% race tonight, that's 1360. And expect a pit lane time loss of around about 17 seconds. It's a particularly short pit lane here, so the guys won't have to worry too much about some time loss around there. So yeah, it should be an enthralling race tonight. We've got a full grid, a full lobby, everyone readying up, and we're going to set us going, Sab. And yeah, as you were alluding to, there's a lot of big hitters in here tonight, and it's going to be a mouth-watering prospect for us.
Oh, most definitely. And qualifying, I think, is going to be absolutely crucial as well. That turn one, as we've seen many times here in Invictus, it can prove really tricky in qualifying. It can make or break your qualifying position. You can absolutely nail it and find yourself right at the front, or you could find yourself invalidating through there, which is very easy to do. And that is a lap gone, and the main wear of your tyres potentially scrubbed off as well. So qualifying is going to be exceptionally tricky, and we know in Germany as well, sometimes we even get some intermittent weather, some interchangeable weather, so who knows, we could even get that as well. But I think all the pressure tonight will sort of be on Gamer and Harry to try and perform back to how they have started the season, because if they don't tonight, and you get Hercules then scoring maximum points again, suddenly he's breathing down their necks for looking for the top spot in the championship. So they'll be wanting to try and get back going, doing what they know best. But last time out, KJ, he got to pole position, didn't he, in Spain? And what a pole position that was for him. So he's certainly one to keep an eye on in this first session.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a little bit of practice in between the weeks, as you see beautiful blue skies here in Germany, so the guys not having to worry about any sort of weather by the looks of it in this qualifying session. We've got 18 minutes are now underway, and we'll see who's first out on grid shortly. But yeah, KJ in the practice sessions has been going lightning quick, and that pole position in Spain may seem to be a bit of a consistent run here, because he's looking very, very quick. So watch out for the man that's in the Racing Point this evening. So he'll be out on track very shortly, I'm sure. But especially on the hard tyres, he's been given a good run for the money of some of these guys that are on the mediums. So yeah, the Dutch driver should be pretty tasty tonight. So that should be an interesting one. Another thing you need to look out for around this circuit is we've got one of the McLarens first out on track. Is it local man Hercules? We'll just go on board with him and we'll go see if it is him. He is. So the local man, to the roars of the German crowd, will be entering the arena of the Hockenheim Ring, and he'll be the first one to set a lap. So we'll go on board with him for that first qualifying lap in about a minute or so time, and we'll point out some of these places that you posed to us about. Obviously that turn one, you can see a lot of left-hand graining around here, especially left rear suffers. There's a lot of load into the likes of turn 1 and turn 11, very high speed corners, so left rear, especially temperatures and wear, can be really hurtful here, and especially into turn 1, that's where these guys are going to have to watch out for, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and that's why you'd probably expect the majority of field not to really qualify on those soft tyres. Those soft tyres, although they'll be very grippy for a few laps, they probably won't last for as long as these guys will probably want. But saying that, last time out, last season, John Polainen proved us all wrong, didn't he, with that soft to hard race set of what he did, and boy did he show us how to do it. So who knows, we could see something similar to that, but I would imagine the majority of the field will be qualified either on the hards or going for a set of mediums. As we're just looking through the tyre choices at the moment, majority of people who's on outlaps right now are on hard tyres. Some still sat in the garage on soft tyres, so the minute the hard tyre is the favourable tyre.
Yep, the usual strategy around here is that medium to hard tyre, and we're on board with Hercules. He's now entering that long straight from the exit of turn 4 round the parabolica. You can go off to the right to go for the shorter circuit, but we're going to carry on down to the hairpin, and this is where it's all going to get in the mix in lap 1, and just off the apex there for the German as he just misses that apex of turn 6. Now it's a short blast up to turn 7, a full throttle flick to the right hand side, now towards Mercedes, and all the Mercedes supporters and the local factory workers getting tickets into that stadium there, into the turn 9 and turn 10 into Mobile, and next right hander is it's a red lap, so that means it's invalidations for Hercules, so that's going to put pay to him set the first time as Ice-T picks up 5 place grip and the contact with Warislander on what can only or must be surely an outlap. We've got a yellow there you can see at Mercedes, so Hercules is going to go for another lap, so he's going to hope to possibly change his luck, and we'll see what the likes of Charlie can do. Charlie coming around the final corner now in the McLaren. Hercules teammate, of course, he comes across the line. Where's this first lap going to put him? It's a 1:13 flat for him. He's the first one of the runners to set a time. Where can everyone else go?
I'm just currently on board with KJ Elting as Sam Pito goes quicker than Charlie with a 12.8. KJ Elting is now just coming around the final corner. He's got John Pine ahead of him. It shouldn't bother him too much. Might even get a slight toe here down the start finish. Where's he going to put him? Straight to the top. What a lap that is from KJ on the hard tyres. A 12.2. There you go. There's the benchmark for everybody right now on those hard tyres, as you see. Boy better know. Also right up there with a 12.7. So KJ really laying down the marker, is he? Like you pointed out, he's been performing some fantastic laps on those hard tyres, and he's just proven what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, jumper line goes into 6th position, 113.3. Harry, the man currently sitting second in the championship, of course. Gamer and Harry are your current leader and second place man in the championship. Need a decent result after what was a dismal race last week for Gamer. We've got purple in the first sector, I believe. That was that first sector or second sector of Burmeister we were on board there. So Burmeister and Ferrari doing very nicely indeed. Can we see if the Dutchman can get himself up into an unlikely top end of the order? And he's one of those ones that can shock you here and there. Goes a little bit deep into the Sud curve at the final corner at turn 16, comes across the line. What can Burmeister do in the Ferrari? Jumps up to 7th position, a 13.3, so puts himself around about 0.3 of a second behind Lozak, who does very nicely to get up into 6th position.
Beck 9000 is the first guy out there on the medium tyres, crossing the line now. What is he going to do? He must have invalidated because he's not set time, unless that was his outlap. Apologies, I misread that. Must have been his outlap. So yeah, Beck 9000 is out there, the first person out there on the medium tyre. He's struggling ever so what there as he comes to turns 3. That is why there's a Ferrari facing the wrong way. That would have been ever so distracted from, I think it was Burmeister. Yes, it was Burmeister, just out on the grass there. So that was very distracting for Beck 9000. So I can't imagine he would pull off a very good lap there as Burmeister now recovers nicely and the yellow flags are removed.
They are, and just in time for Scopefielder to come crossing the line. And what can the Swede do? 3-time champion here in Victor, up into 5th position, and Scope going and doing a 12.7 there. So he's getting faster, a season off from league racing, and it took him a few races to get back up to pace, but he's slowly getting there in qualifying.
He really is, yeah, and last week we saw some glimpses, didn't we, of him getting back to his best. We thought at first we might even try and sneak into that top 5, unfortunately he just fell away towards the end of the race. I'm just riding on board with KJ's teammate, Cliffy. He's now on his first flying lap, and it's on a set of soft tyres, and he's just gone purple in the first sector. So if this lap produces to be anything like what his first sector was going to be like, you can imagine it's going to be a racing point 1-2 as he into the Mercedes stand section now. He's got a McLaren ahead of him, a Hercules. Hercules nicely moves out of the way there, no distractions there as he's purple in the second sector, Cliffy. So now coming into the stadium section now, surely Cliffy, if he gets this right, will be going straight to the top of the standings. Just a few corners left here for Cliffy. Can he nail this now? Just second to last corner into the final. Oh no, he's bailed on it. So even though he was going quickest in first and second sector, he just decided he doesn't want to do it on those soft tyres and bails out and straight into the pits.
As Adrialoctoc goes onto the grass on the exit of the Sachs curb there, so the Spaniard crawling back to the pit lane. We're back on board with Fountain, and the Belgian driver coming through Mercedes now and into the final sector, into the stadium section as he enters turn 11, and he's just invalidated, running wide on the exit of turn 10, so he's going to have to come back into the pit lane. And yeah, Cliffy just teasing us there with a little bit of a soft run. We'll see if anyone else goes out there and sets this time on the soft tyres. Beck 9000 has invalidated on that attempt, but he's up in 7th position. The only one that's gone onto the medium tyres with over 10 minutes left to go in the session. Now, we said earlier that the hard tyre and the medium tyre are probably the ones that we'll see most in qualifying. However, we saw last season that pole was taken by Jumpalainen, who went for the soft rubber. And yeah, he went for that soft to hard tyre compound strategy, and it really, well, he remarkably managed to hold on to the pace, because usually the soft tyres around here can really suffer with graining and tyre temperature. So yeah, he did a great job and ended up picking up the win just after holding off White Fountain and Charlie, with the three having a almighty power struggle late in the race.
Definitely, and just quickly go back to here. Gamer now is going on another run on the hard tyres. He's already done a 1:14.3. What can he do here? Gamer jumps up to third place with a 1:12.3, so not that far off Hercules either. So it's getting really nice and tight at the top there. As I'm just looking down the field now, we've got a few more people starting to come out onto the medium tyres. I see Boy Better Know, he's out there on a set of medium tyres as well. So things are starting to really heat up here. We've got 9 minutes left on the clock.
Just on board with last season's IRL F1 champion Jumpalainen, and the Finn just exiting turn 1 on the way down to turn 2, turn 3 and turn 4. Very quick, complex of corners. DRS will be open, and in fact quite nicely in front of him he's got a McLaren that will just be giving him just a little bit of a toe down towards the hairpin. So of course you'll take anything you can, and I'm surprised we've not seen teammates out on track with usually when I say you can see the Williams exiting the final corner in a moment, so there might be a little bit into team play between Scott and Harry, and but I'm surprised we've not seen more from some of the others, because that DRS and slipstream down that back straight can really help you and pick up almost 3 to 4 tenths of a second. So we'll see what the Williams can do as they start to go to turn 2 now, so they're going to get that big draft. So Jumpalainen, however, is coming into the stadium section at Mobile. Turn 11, does he keep it? He does keep it quite nicely onto the runoff area, into the Sachs curb, slightly off camber, so very easy to get underneath the car, especially if you touch one of these curbs and you've got a very unstable setup. But I'm sure Jumpalainen looking after it very nicely indeed. He's currently in 15th position. He's going to look to go much faster, but he's not going to. Unfortunately, I wasn't even looking at the time before he did that, so we'll go on board with the two Williams boys. And what have we got? We've got Scott was the one that was being towed around, but he's actually he's not had too much of an impact on those medium tyres. He was going slower on this lap compared to last. So I say that as he goes purple in the second sector. So into the third. Scott on the medium rubber. What can he do? Coming up to the Sachs curve now. Turn 12, as I said, very easy to get it upset and to get the car pointing in the wrong direction. But the Williams on the track, and Scott's put a lot of work in between the weeks, between the races. What will he do to come across the line? Scott goes up into the pole position, and it's a current 1:11.7 is your provisional pole time. He's the first driver out there on those medium tyres to set a competitive lap.
I imagine he will be quite frustrated with that lap. I was right on board with the pair of them, and it was really clever tactics what they were doing, using that soft tyre from Harry to allow him to get the toe as best he can from Boy Better Know. But into the first corner, Boy Better Know really had to correct that Williams, otherwise he could have easily lost it. And I reckon he lost at least a couple of tenths just through them first corner and second corner. So there is room to improve there for Scott. I imagine overall, yes, right now he is pole, but I think there is still time in his pocket to be able to improve. So the moment the tactic worked out superbly for the Williams guys, and I'm sure Harry will be sitting in the pits right now, rubbing his hands, knowing it'll be his turn soon, with Scott being the tower this time.
Absolutely, as we've got just over 6 minutes left to go in the session, so time for one more lap for the majority of the field. They've all done, most of them have done at least one run, if not onto their second now. We're on board with Charlie, who's down in 14th position, and Charlie, in fact, having saying that he doesn't like doing too much practice during the week, because he feels that if he practices too much, it puts him off his game, because he feels the pressure too much. So he's been trying to be taking it easy in between the race weeks, and we'll see if that hampers him or if it helps him. Of course, the Brighton-based race driver is currently on his fast lap on another set of the hard tyres, so trying to keep it on these hard tyres. Runs out slightly wide there on the exit of turn 11. Now, can he improve on this time, get himself up into the top 10, possibly start on the hard tyre and make a long stint into the race on it? Coming up to the final corner now, what can Charlie do? Coming across the line from 14th, he jumps up into 5th position, slightly delayed there, but good lap there from Charlie.
Yes, it was a good lap, and Sam and Pito now are coming round the final corner on the mediums in his Haas car. It's been a tidy lap from Sam. What can he do? And that is a decent lap to say he didn't have any tow whatsoever. He was all alone pretty much for the whole of the lap. A 1:11.9 there, so not bad going. So just shows you 2-3 tenths can give you can be given there with that tow. So yeah, Sam's done all right out there, jumping up on the front row provisionally.
Yep, and we've currently Scott, with Boy Better Know SB, Scott is currently leading on that 1:11.7. Sam in a 1:11.9. Gamer on a 1:12.1. He's of course the what's on hard tyres. We saw pole position last season as a 1:11.1. Of course, Jump Alignment on the soft rubber. So will we see anyone make that bold move and to go onto the softest compounded tyre? We've got a couple of drivers starting their flying laps, and by the looks of it, as you can see just on the track map there, the two Williams are coming out, and this time it will be Scott's turn to lead Harry around and give him that tow. And Harry, after a bit of a embarrassing bin into the wall last week in Spain, would be looking at picking up some more points. And unfortunately Beck, as we were just on board with, invalidates that lap that he's currently on. With 4 minutes left to go, he will have time to come in. He was on a set of the soft tyres, so he was going for it, but slightly over eager on using the track limits. And that's going to put him into the box, and the Scottish driver will have to go for it again. In fact, he's going to go for a second run on the soft, so that's brave, because these tyres around here really struggle once they've started losing wear. And Beck's going to go for another run and hopefully try and pick up the toe of the car in front. So we'll see if he can improve on that one.
Just keeping an eye on Schofield now. He's on a set of mediums. He's just had the Williams pair not in his way so much, but he forced them to get out of their way as they're on their outlap. Schofield are coming into the stadium section now. He's currently in 8th with 1:12.5, and he's improving, so expect him to jump up here. What is he going to set as he's just heading for the final corner now in the Alfa Romeo? He's going to round the corner. Here we go, across the finish line. What is he going to do? He's going to jump up to 3rd. That's a decent lap there from Schofielder, and he's only 0.04 of a second off Sam's time in the Haas, so that's really impressive. He set a purple 3rd sector as well there, so Schofielder, nice work from him.
Yep, absolutely. As the Swede moves up into the second row of the grid, we've got plenty of drivers out on their laps now. As you can see, the two Williams out there, and Scott, there goes the team tactics, and he's going to give Harry a lovely tow up towards the hairpin. At the last minute, I'm sure he'll peel to the inside and let Harry have the outside line and the braking zone into turn 1. So whilst Harry continues with that, we'll go on board and we'll see if we can find anyone else that's currently setting a lap. We've got the likes of Hercules, who's out on track. He's invalidated another lap, so that is most likely his qualifying session done, unless he's going to go for a double push lap on those medium tyres. Behind him, we've still got the likes of Speed Queen. She's out there doing a fly. She's coming up to the second to final corner now. And what can the 3-time F1 champion do? Comes across the line. Speed Queen in the Red Bull. Unfortunately, cannot improve. It's a 1:16 flat for her on the medium tyre, so a mistake surely for the Red Bull driver around there. We've got a the two Williams coming around the final corner. What can Harry do as he crosses the line? It's up into second, and it's a current front row lockout for the the two Williams drivers split by 200ths of a second. So those two very nicely indeed as poised as we'll see. Do we see anyone else improving on their times? Charlie's about to set a flying lap. He's come across the line with 1 minute 30 left to go in the session. Behind KJ Eltink is out on a lap as well. So what can KJ do? Comes across the line and he takes pole position, a 1:11.2. So the times are falling, and a 1:11.2 on the mediums. I said that we saw a 1:11.1 on the soft tyre. So that shows you that KJ has got a lot of pace inside that racing point tonight.
Yeah, I jumped on board with KJ for the second half of his lap, and he was absolutely flying, absolutely nailed it to perfection. And going into the stadium section, he was about half a second up on his previous time, so you just imagine he was going to improve. And talking of improving, Hercules, the home crowd favourite, has improved, and he's gone ahead of Boy Berno and Harry in those Williams cars. He's just done a 1:11.6, but still 4/10 of a second off KJ. It just shows you, doesn't it, what type of lap KJ has done there. He's really starting to gain a bit of a reputation in his early career here in Invictus, isn't he? As a bit of a dynamo in qualifying, and once again, at the moment, he's looking like the man to beat.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see where Charlie's going to. Charlie coming up to line out. He's invalidated Cliffy, unfortunately. He's been DQ'd from the session, so that will drop him. I say drop him. He was in 20th. It keeps him in 20th position. Who else have we got crossing the line? We've still got Gamer out on track, who I think might be going for a double push lap. We'll see. Yeah, so he's currently half a second faster. He's done an extra lap on those medium tyres, so will hurt him in the race. But can he get himself up in the mix for the top two rows of the grid? Comes across the line. Time has it finished on the session. Gamer crosses the line and goes up onto the front row. It's a 1:11.3. He misses out on pole position by 1/10 of a second, but with still drivers out there. Hercules comes into the pit lane, jumper line, and looks as though he's going to finish his session there as well. So that may be us done. We'll see if there's anyone else on track that is improving on their time. Foxy Red is not improving. He's down in 11th. Charlie not enjoying it at all. Can he improve? He's gone for a double push lap. So Charlie out there in 12th position. The McLaren driver needs to improve. He's got a Red Bull slightly in his eye line there, so that might have just cost him a little bit of time. Does he stick with it? He needs to get up into the top 10. Charlie in 12th position. Big ask to get in. Big pressure. And here he comes across the line. Charlie just about sneaks in. 8th position for him as he does a 1:11.9. Immediately pushed down to 9th there. But as Beck 9000 on the soft tyre does go for a soft run, and Beck puts himself into 6th position on the soft rubber. So yeah, KJ Eltink, fantastic lap from him on the mediums, and the Dutch driver is looking very strong tonight.
Oh yes, most definitely. The lap set on a mediums, like you pointed out, John Plyer last season did it a 1:11.1 on the softs, so to do a 1:11.2 on the mediums is very impressive. And CRG Gamer would have probably got pole position normally with a 1:11.3 on the mediums, but it just shows you how mighty that lap was from KJ. And Hercules as well with a 1:11.6, definitely can't count him out either. And both the Williams guys shortly behind, they'll also be ones to keep an eye on. So this race is going to be absolutely fascinating to see who can take it to it early on in the session, because as I've just been glancing through our information, apparently we're going to be getting some rain in the race this evening, so that should spice things up towards the end of the race here. So could also mix up the strategies. As there we go, there is a classification for the qualifying.
Yeah, as KJL takes pole position in the racing point with 1:11.264, 0.13 of a second ahead of CRG Gamer, and Gamer putting a lot of cars between himself and Harry. You can see Hercules and Harry's teammate Scott in 4th position as Hercules takes 3rd. Scott takes 4th position, Harry in 5th, Beck on that soft rubber is in 6th, with Sam Pepito in 7th, Scopefielder in 8th, Charlie in 9th, and Jumper Linen in 10th, round out the top 10, who will be starting on those tyres respectively. And then behind, I will quickly run through TL44S, Lozak, Foxy Red, and Burmeister were down in 14th position, and you'll have to bear with me until the qualifying session, and I'll run down through 15 through 20. But yeah, with rain in the offering, it was supposedly 45 minutes into the race, so that could be right at the end of this race and the tail end. So it's going to be fascinating to see if it does affect these guys, and if we do see possibly a late dash into the pit lane for intermediate rubber.
Definitely, and last week in F2, what I competed in, we had some rain halfway through, but it was a sort of rain that just didn't push for the intermediate task straight away. So some of us gambled to try and go on intermediates in case it went heavier and costly. It didn't. So it was that sort of rain that you were okay to stay on the soft rubber. You were losing time, but you were ultimately faster than going on to the wet setup. And eventually, towards the end of the race, it went to full intermediate weather. So we could have a mixture of that, or could we just have a case of going dry to straight onto inters? So that's definitely a headache for all these drivers tonight, because they'll be planning their strategies now, knowing that they've got this potential rain coming, because they don't want to be going into it to the end of the race in really worn rubber, because you could find yourself easily skidding off the track in comfortable positions. You could find yourself even in the podium places and see yourself outbrake yourself into a corner and find yourself into a barrier. So that is certainly in the mix here, as we're now just waiting for the guys to set up. What do you think to this front row lineup then, with KJ and Gamer at the front? Gamer doing what he needs to do, doesn't he, after what happened last week? He'll be eager to try and get the jump on KJ.
Yeah, he will, but we've seen that KJ's got mighty pace at the moment. So and some decent consistency in qualifying. That's two pole positions in a row for the Dutchman. So Gamer's got a lot of work on his hands if he is to overtake him. And yeah, we've got a fascinating race in store tonight, because obviously with the weather coming, will that play into order? Of course, Gamer had a second push lap on the medium, so he's done an extra lap on those tyres compared to everyone else. So yeah, we've got some potentially well, really interesting stories coming out of this race. And welcome everyone for joining. Thanks for joining us. Great to have you on board. Remember to hit that like button if you're enjoying the stream, and of course, if you're not already subscribed, press the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified every time we go live with a new video. We're on the grid ready for the formation lap here for the German Grand Prix round 5, the IRL F1 League. We've got Gareth and Sab in the commentary box, and it's KJ Elting 7 leading us around this formation lap under green, and he will be in the racing point, as the racing points and almost head and tail the field, with Cliffy having been disqualified in the qualifying session. He finds himself in 19th, and we've seen him fight through the field plenty of times this season, in fact. So Cliffy having pretty dismal qualifying luck so far this season, but doing quite nicely to get some decent points. So watch for the second racing point to possibly battle through the field. And of course, we'll quickly let you know what's going on for the rest of the week here in IRL. So tomorrow night you've got the Realistic Performance League with Tim and Malc in the commentary box, and on Wednesday night you've got IRL F2 and F3. F2 covered by Dan and James, F3 covered by Harry and Charlie, you see racing tonight and doing a sterling job so far this season in their debut commentary season. And then of course on Sunday you can find the IRL F1 XBOX League Sunday on twitch.tv, and you can go and find that on all the socials. Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook, and on Instagram, of course. InvictusRacingLeague.com for all information about getting involved in Invictus, and all the league tables, of course, as we've got a little bit of lag there between CRG Gamer and Hercules. So yeah, getting a little bit friendly with each other on the formation lap, and hopefully we won't be seeing too much of that. So yeah, KJL Tink will be looking in his mirrors and seeing a mesh of yellow and orange behind. So that would be slightly worrying as he looks in the right and looks in the left and blinks a couple of times and trying to wonder if that's exactly what he is seeing, because it seems as though the McLaren really is Renault powered at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I was riding on board with KJ and just looked behind and seen the mix. It was a bit of a gasp from me there, because I thought at first it actually hit, but obviously we're just having a little bit of connection issues now, as they're now lining up. KJ will be wanting to try and get away from that left-hand side and getting through turn 1 without CRG Gamer ahead of him. So here we go. All the cars just line up now as Ice-T just lines up in his final grid slot.
So we've got a late Toro Rosso to the party now with Adrian Lockdock, who's just forming up into his grid slot in 18th position. But now the engine notes are rising. We're about to start IRL F1 round 5 here in Germany at the Hockenheim Ring. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Pause. Out, and we're off, and it's a drive-through penalty already for Hercules for jumping the start line. He's going to fall down the order, but it's a great getaway there for the Racing Point as he holds off the Renault of CRG Gamer. Scott in 3rd position, Harry in 4th, Sam in 5th position, Becker's jumped Scopefielder. Hercules falling down to 9th. A disaster start for the hometown man.
Absolutely, I was riding on board with Hercules, and what happened was he went and stopped, and then suddenly had to go again. And by the time he went again, everybody, well, not everybody, everybody pretty much in the top 10 managed to get past him. And Hercules now down to 10th as TL4 is trying one round the outside of Schofield. There's no chance of that, and they're all just so many late braking there. And Hercules just about manages to get back up 2 places. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Don't see what that's for. I think it may be for Adrian Lockdock as he's just fallen down behind. But yeah, terrible start there for Hercules.
Scott and CRG Gamer side by side for so much of this lap, and Scott, he's been pushed wide, but Scott just about holding on to the position, trying to force himself up into second position. He's swarming all over the gearbox of CRG Gamer, and that's bringing Harry and Sam into the play, and it's allowing KJ to stretch the lead to 1.5 seconds already. That's a huge lead over the first lap, but Gamer just about holding on to the position. Him and Scott side by side through the exit turn 6 all the way through to turn 10 as KJ Elting leads us around for the first lap. CRG Gamer in second position, the 2 Williams now in third and fourth position, Sam in fifth, Charlie up to sixth, Beck 9000 drops to seventh, Schofield in eighth, TL4S and Foxy Red round out the ninth and 10th positions. Hercules into the box, and the German driver from 30 minutes down the road from the Hockenheim ring having an absolutely woeful start. Now we see the 2 Williams shaping up each other. Is this play for a team play? Because Scott allowing his teammate up the inside. Will he battle with him? Because you can see Harry takes the inside line, and now we'll see these 2 championship protagonists possibly going tail to tail with each other, because CRG Gamer will know that he needs to make up points on Harry after really missing out last week. Harry retiring, CRG Gamer finishing in 11th position and out the points, but he's now got Harry on his tail, and he's got a lot of work on his hands, because it looks as though KJ is going to make a break for it.
It really does. He's had the perfect start, hasn't he? And CRG Gamer is somewhat recovered now, hasn't he? Harry now up into third, but CRG Gamer's got a 1.5 second lead over Harry, so Harry will be hoping to reel that in sooner or later. I just wanted to point out as well, it's been a good start as well for Sam and Pito. He's up into 5th place, and also a good start for FPL Charlie. He's up 3 places into 6th, so 2 good starters there, and they'll be wanting to try and hang on to both these Williams pairs, as now the DRS will be coming into action down that long back straight. The DRS will be playing to many people's hands, I can imagine.
Yeah, and this is one of those circuits where you see that aforementioned DRS train. A lot of drivers struggling if you get caught in a bit of a train of cars. You can see Charlie will be getting a mega tow off the back of the Williams and of the Haas of San Pepito. And you can see a couple of cars peeling to the inside. Behind, we've got a battle between Lozak and Speed Queen, the 2 Red Bulls going at it into the hairpin. And we've got Speed Queen on the mediums, Lozak on the hard tyres, Speed Queen getting up past her teammate up into 11th position. So she's done quite nicely, up just outside the top 10. But at the front, we've still got KJ Elting now stretching his lead to 1.7 seconds. Harry 1.6 behind CRG Gamer, so he's got a bit of a mountain to climb, because that gap is increasing. But you can see behind him there's a pretty short gap, around 0.6 of a second between Scott, Sam and Charlie, before that 1.2 second gap back to Beck, who on those soft rubber will be starting to feel the heat in about a lap and a half's time, as the soft tyres around here really do fall away very quickly, and when they do, you can find yourself, especially into turn 1, really struggling. So we'll see if we get any changes for position with Beck. What have we got going on? I can hear a deep breath.
Beck almost lost it. You're talking about Beck, he almost lost it. I was riding ball with TL4S, and TL4S should make easy work of it. Beck almost lost it through turn 1, had to properly get out of the power, and this should be easy meat for TL4S, and it is. TL4S has had a good start this evening so far, up 4 places into 7th now, and next on his target it will be FPL Charlie, and Beck 9000 trying to hold on against Schofield now, but Schofield making it as difficult as possible for him. He's just pushed out wide, and that's going to allow Foxy Red to have a go at Schofield instead, and Foxy Red trying one round the outside of Schofield, and Foxy Red gets the move done, and unfortunately for Schofield, he looked like he was about to get Beck 9000, and in the end, he's lost a place to Foxy Red, his teammate. So, yeah, that was a bit of a disaster for him. As Beck 9000 once again goes very wide, so those soft tyres are really already going away from him, and he looks like he's starting to become a bit of a nuisance for the cars behind him.
Yeah, Beck possibly just pushing the rules there of giving a driver enough space, and as he came across Schofield, just pushing the Swede offline, and that allowed Foxy Red to to be able to make a sumptuous move around the outside of his teammate, as we've got Scott once again closing in on his teammate. It's 3 seconds already for Bet9000 as Burmeister comes into the pit lane very early, and the Ferrari driver now drops to the rear of the field. Hercules, disastrous start for the German, down in 19th position. You can see Scott with the DRS on his teammate, but will he make a move? It's unlikely. I think this is all about trying to help him just possibly fend off the likes of Sam and Charlie, but you can see behind you've still got Beck holding off the advantages of those two Alfa Romeo drivers. Fountain moves up past Cliffy for 14th and 15th position. We'll go on board and we'll look down through the field and find out what's going on, because Cliffy is still on a charge, started in 19th position as Warrislander came with a rate of knots. You can see both front tyres locked up as we've got a Red Bull running wide. That's Lozak, and that allows Jumper Linen, and last season's champion outside the top 10 last season. Not only last season's champion, but last season's race winner is currently outside of the top 10 in 12th position, and so you've got a mad battle going on here. Renault, Red Bull, Haas, Racing Point, Ferrari, Mercedes, all within about a second and a half of each other. These guys all battling over position. We were saying that this is one of those tracks where the DRS really keeps cars close together, and this is proving the point pretty starkly at the moment.
Foxy Red finally gets past Beck. Beck once again struggling through turn one, ran very wide there, and that easily allowed Foxy Red to get past. And this surely now will be the time for Schofield to get the move done. Both Beck and Schofield do have DRS though, so it's not going to be easy for Schofield here. He's going to have to work for it. They're going down to the hairpin. Can Schofield around the outside get the work done? Late braking there. He's having to get out of it a bit though, because he nearly ran into his teammate, and that's given Beck another opportunity to be a pain in Schofield's side, as Schofield now will have the inside, and you'd imagine now surely Schofield gets this move done. Beck running wide once again, and Schofield eventually gets past Beck 9000 as Beck drops down to 10th place.
Yeah, just running out of tyres there. You can see Beck starting to struggle, just didn't have the turn in there for the Mercedes corner at turn 8, so he's going to have to start thinking about coming into the box on lap 6:34. Like I said, the soft tyres, when they start to fall off here, they dramatically do, and you'll find yourself really struggling with tyre temperatures, and those softs skyrocket. And you can see now Beck falling as he does come into the pit lane, as Speed Queen now moves up into the points. So Beck into the box as TL44S picks up a 3-second time penalty. Lozak running wide at the entry at turn 1, and it's incredibly harsh, the penalties around here, especially on the exit of turn 1, and you can see this mad battle we've got going on for essentially for the final point, with Speed Queen leading a trail of cars behind her in a way, because we've got Speed Queen, Jump Line and Fountain, Lozak, Cliffy, Warrislander, Ice-T all within a couple of seconds of each other, as down to the inside goes Cliffy on the Red Bull of Lozak. A little bit of contact between the pair, and that's going to possibly allow Warrislander up the inside of the Red Bull. And how's this going to play out, because Lozak's not going to want to give up the position. Warrislander to the outside, he's going to have the position, but Lozak's got the inside line. There's going to be contact between himself and Cliffy. He just about manages to miss it, but that does allow Warrislander to make up for the fact that the the Swiss driver was hard on the brakes, and he gets past, and that's now allowing Ice-T into the fray. These three, you can see Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, all in close order. Where have we seen that before? But it is Warrislander that's currently leading from Lozak and Ice-T.
Just going back to the front of the battles here tonight, as Charlie picks up a 3-second time penalty, running wide at turn 1 there. Unfortunately was well wide. And just wanted to point out, CRG Game is slowly starting to reel in KJ now. It's down to 1.3 seconds. It was around 1.7, 1.8 seconds. CRG Game is now reeling in, but Harry is significantly dropping away from CRG Game and not making an impression at all. Boy Better Know has dropped off about a second as well. Sam and Charlie keeping in close proximity to Boy Better Know, but at the moment the race is not really going that way Harry wanted to after he got the move done on his teammate, and he's stuck around 2.6 seconds, and it's just slightly getting away from him, as CRG Gamer seems to have turned the wick up now. I've just jumped on board with him, and he's got a really good view of KJ now, as it's dropping down to 1.1 seconds. So the way this is going, KJ is going to be under severe threat with DRS winning the next lap or two from CRG Gamer.
They're on lap 8. Oh, we've got Cliffy that's gone wide, and the Racing Point rolling across the line in on the exit of turn 10 there. And is that going to bring out a VSC, because he was pointing in the wrong direction? We'll go board with him. He's managed to get pointing in the right direction. He's on the hard tyres, so he's going to have to watch out because those tyre temperatures, as I said, will be skyrocketing. Just lost it on the exit of turn 10, and luckily he had a bit of a gap between himself and the rest of the field, and everyone else was able to scatter and get out of the way. But yeah, Cliffy just about holding on to that one, and he finds himself back down in 18th. So all that hard work he'd done to make up those positions unfortunately unravels in a split second.
CRG Gamer has significantly now closed in on me. Managed to get DRS on KJ, and now there's a mega battle for first place here. KJ, he's just all over the track. The last few corners I've seen him, he's looked like he's really struggling now on those tyres. I don't know whether he pushed too early in the race, and now he's just suffering slightly, but Gamer really now applying the pressure, and you can tell he's really applying the pressure because Harry's now dropped to about 3 seconds off this battle. And CRG Gamer, you would imagine, as we got a yellow flag in sector 1, you would imagine CRG Gamer within the next lap, I'd say under DRS, he would make easy work of KJ, because KJ, just right above CRG Gamer, is really struggling through each of the corners at the moment.
And sitting above the driver in second position, CRG Gamer, and we'll watch him with the gold lid as he uses a lovely line there through turn 1, cuts the corner perfectly, allows you to cut on the inside, doesn't let you cut on the outside. That's not consistent at all, but he is going to have a very nice run through on the KJ. Once again, DRS will be assisted, Scope picking up 3 seconds there, but let's see who's got the slipperier car in a straight line. KJ, of course, in the lead, doesn't have DRS. CRG Gamer will have DRS, and he's just about far enough in front that it looks as though Gamer's going to have to think about possibly being within 2 to 3 tenths of a second on the exit of turn 4 if he is to get that move done, because he was just over 4.5 there, and he just ran out a little bit of road before we got to the entry of the hairpin at turn 6. But this battle will continue as Gamer just about holds on to it there. You can see in the low gears is really struggling, and once again struggling on the exit of turn 10, so possibly knocking it down into a one gear too few, and struggled to get the power down, and that's cost him about half a second or so. So that alleviates the pressure somewhat for the Dutchman currently leading the race.
Just looking further down, Hercules is having a fight on his hands at the moment, and he just about gets ahead of the Warrislander in the end, and Hercules now up into 13th place. It's a case of trying to recover the best he can here. I imagine he'll be crying out for some sort of safety.
Just to interrupt you there, Sam. We had KJ going wide into the final corner, and then just about holding on to the position. Gamer using the first DRS zone on the exit of turn 1 to turn 2, and that set him up perfectly here for this run down towards the hairpin. And here's the position for the lead of the race, and CRG Gamer takes the lead of the race using DRS into the hairpin turn. Can KJ come back at him? No. Gamer uses the apex absolutely to perfection, closes off any sort of overtake for him, and with Harry in third position, has now seen his title rival move up into the lead of the race. He's going to need to get the pressure on him. KJ coming back down the inside of Gamer, and that was a late move indeed for the racing point, and that really caught out Gamer. He wasn't expecting it at all. KJ not giving up this position, and yeah, possibly really caught the Renault out unaware there, and he wasn't willing to give up this lead that he's held on for the first 10 laps, including taking pole position. But Gamer just about holding onto the car. That would have been some exquisite car control there from him to what I can imagine was a little bit of opposite lock.
I didn't expect that at all. I was a bit of a gasp there, but what this has done, this has allowed Harry to close in somewhat. He was over 3 seconds behind this battle. It's turned down to 2.4 seconds, so while these guys are squabbling, this is going to allow Harry and Boy Better Know, who's only half a second behind his teammate, to try and catch up with this battle. So KJ now, he will have the DRS, but can he now return the favour on CRG Gamer and try and get a move down into the hairpin? Here comes KJ. Is he going to be able to do it? It's he's going to send one inside. No, he thinks better of it, and probably plays the most sensible option as Scott. Boy Better Know Harry, he's just past his teammates, so Scott now into third place. Maybe that is another tactic, thinking Harry might be thinking he can't gain on these and give Scott a chance. I don't know, but Boy Better Know is now into third place.
Yep, the two Williams swap positions there as Scott's been playing rear gunner to Charlie and Sam, as Charlie's got past Sam as well for fifth position. But yeah, it's the two Williams do swap position. Is this to allow Scott an opportunity of attacking these two lead pair that are 2.5 seconds up the road? But Gamer is slowly starting to etch a little bit of a gap. He was about 0.3 of a second in the lead at the start of the lap. He's now half a second ahead, so a 2/10 gain. And you can see with DRS, we'll see if KJ is able to come back in. And there we go, running wide at turn 1, and that's picked up a third and final warning, and you get slapped with that 3-second time penalty. And yeah, watch out for penalties tonight, guys, because it is one of those tracks around on this calendar that we do find penalties pretty prevalent. And so we'll see KJ DRS assistant down towards the hairpin. Can he get the move? No, it'll be a very late lunge. He's getting close, not quite close enough, and you can hear him shifting down through the gears frantically to try and get the car slowed down. But he's just about being held off by Gamer, and we can see KJ takes a lot more speed into this corner here, so you can see really closes up on Gamer. Gamer possibly a little bit more tentative, a little bit kinder in the tyres, which might be the reason why we saw KJ suffer with losing that time. As you can see, he's braking quite late into some of these corners, as Gamer getting a little bit of a twitch on there into turn 11, but holding onto the position. KJ still tailing the Renault driver, but really fighting the wheel there. You can see as we sit on board with him that he's really not enjoying these tyres towards the end of this lap. Gamer goes wide, and into the box comes KJ, so he's the first one of the lead runners into the box, and he's followed by Scott. So Scott is in first, of course the lead Williams of the two swapping positions, so he comes in. So we've got a pit stop for the Racing Point and the Williams drivers for the undercut.
And oh, that is unfortunate for KJ, because KJ had to be held in his pit box slightly as Scott was coming past. KJ had to wait for Scott to come past to go into his pit box. So unfortunately, KJ had a bit longer stop than he liked, and that's put him out right in front of Hercules. Hercules in 11th place, and Hercules will be licking his lips at the opportunity of trying to potentially attack KJ here. Hercules will have full DRS here. KJ without the DRS, and unfortunately for KJ, that slower stop has now cost him another place, and Hercules will be going ahead of him into 10th place, and unfortunately KJ now dropping down to 11th. That'll be disastrous for him and his fight with Gamer.
Yeah, of course, KJ on cold, hard tyres. Hercules has done 13 laps on those mediums after making a stop after lap 1 for an excursion that he made at the start, where he decided to start the race a fraction of a second faster than everyone else. So it was into the pit lane for a stop-go penalty for him. And yep, VL Hercules now in 10th position. We'll be looking at basically, this is a bit of a consideration race for him. He's looking at picking up points and consolidating his championship push. So it's all about trying to fight for the right positions. Will it be getting involved in this battle with KJ, who will be on a much more optimum strategy compared to the McLaren driver, as Speed Queen then picks up 3 seconds, and Hercules then joins her in the penalty box as the German driver picks up another penalty. You can see plenty of drivers swapping positions there. We've had into the box, we've seen Harry, and he's back out just about behind his teammate. KJ now has a really good run on Hercules, and he's going to get a pretty decent toe on Hercules and on Speed Queen, and he's getting blocked off as Hercules tries to look to Speed Queen. KJ's going to run into the back of Speed Queen, and that's putting her into the side of Hercules. So a bit of a mess there between the pair. 3 into 1 doesn't really go. Everyone holds on to the position. It looks as though no one's got any wing damage from that. Hercules swarming around the outside of Speed Queen, and this is possibly going to open up the door for KJ as he sits there out onto the grass, and that's going to cost him time. But Hercules ahead, still trying to battle with Speed Queen, and we've seen in the past she is a vociferous defender. She does not like letting anyone past at any opportunity. So Hercules has got this is a battle for position here. They've both done the same amount of time on those tyres, but you can see he's got to fight himself into the box. So he's decided he's going to lose some time behind her. So into the box he comes in to make his first pit stop.
The race leader just coming out of the pits now. He's on a set of hards. He's going to be coming out ahead of this battle. And Speed Queen even, and KJ tries to send one down the inside. He ends up going across the grass there on Speed Queen and trying one round the outside. And he just about gets the move done. That was a bit desperation there. KJ's eyes probably lit up seeing Gamer coming out of the pits there, and thought he had to get the move done now, and just about got that move done. And is this an opportunity now for KJ? His tyres will be a lot lot warmer and a lot ready to go on Gamer on those cold, hard tyres. This is an opportunity for KJ to try and get something on Gamers now just coming up to the back of White Fountain on hard tyres, which he started on for his Haas team. So there's a slight opportunity here for KJ to try and make some sort of impression on Gamer.
And this shows you just how much that brief pause in the pit lane has hurt KJ Eltink, because it's cost him. You can see the gap between himself is 0.6. He was involved in a little bit of a brief pause, having to let Scott through to his pit box, and then equally involved in that battle between Hercules and Speed Queen on his out lap. So that has possibly cost KJ the possibility of taking this the race lead back from Gamer, and Gamer now closing in on the Haas ahead, and that's of White Fountain. Can he get ahead? Fountain, of course, another multi-time race winner here in Invictus, but he's now got one of the best that we've had here in CRG Gamer, so he's going to pretty much have his mirrors full of Renault. We'll see how long for, because it doesn't look like it's going to be too long, because on those old tyres, Fountain has got the Renault down the inside, and he's sent it down the inside. Can Fountain come back in? In fact, no, KJ's going to think about it as well. So now we've got a Renault 1-2 with Jumper Line, and having not stopped on those medium tyres. Of course, he was the only driver last season to do the soft rubber to the hard rubber. Will he let his teammate through and up into the lead of the race? This is where team tactics comes into play, as Burmeister retires from the race, and that's puts under safety car, and almost catches out the Haas and the Racing Point and have to slam on the brakes. And this will work quite nicely if Jumper London wants to come in and make a stop now. But for all those drivers that have just made stops, we'll see where everyone starts to filter out, because this is pretty much slap bang in the middle of the race. So this is probably maybe a lap too late for some of these drivers that could have made this stop under the safety car.
Yeah, definitely. And Jump Line, as you say, does pit. So this has played into the hands of Jump Line. White Fountain on those hard tyres has also pitted. So Jump Line coming in, it'll be interesting to see where he filters out. Jump Line, he's had a very quiet race, but Jump Line, I don't know if you've seen there, he's coming out on the soft tyres. That's very interesting. Just Jump Line, I think he could make those soft tyres last to potentially a rain-threatened session towards the end. And Jump Line feeds out into 8th place in between the both Alpha drivers. So Jump Line will be definitely one to keep an eye on those brand new set of soft tyres. Interesting strategy call there for the Renault team.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, guys, if you're not aware, if you've just joined us, it was KJ Eltink that took the pole position with Gamer in second position. All drivers in the top 10 starting on or most drivers starting on the medium tyre, apart from Beck, who started on the softs. However, we are expecting rain later in the race. When it comes, we're not sure. We've been told 45 minutes, we've been told 40 minutes, we've been told a little bit less than that. But with Jumper Linen going on to the soft rubber, does he think that he can stretch this out to this possible rain period where he might need to come in for a set of the intermediates? This is fascinating stuff. You've got drivers on different strategies. You can see there, Foxy Red on the mediums, Jumper Line on the softs. Then you've got Fountain. Pretty much everyone outside of the top 10 is on the medium rubber, bar Ice-T in 14th position. And Warris landed down on equally, who's gone for the soft rubber. He's down in 19th position, as Hercules picks up 5 seconds for ignoring the yellow flags under the safety car. Now, that must be surely for staying or for getting above someone and not relinquishing the position. So we'll have to find out. But I mean, the Hercules race going from bad to worse, and we're under safety car and he's picking up penalties. So the German driver is really under the cosh tonight, and it looks as though his decent season is coming to a grinding halt here in his home race, which is something we often see.
Yeah, that was a bizarre one. I've not seen that penalty flash up before here, and it'd be fascinating to see after a race what caused that to you. But like you say, Hercules, it's just a race to forget from him. And just to go back on Jump Line, you can't really blame him in a way for trying this call on the soft tyres, can you? Because he's had a bit of a meh race, hasn't he? He's not really been there or there. He's been hovering around the top 10. He's not really been fighting at the front like we used to see him, our current champion. So why not try something a bit different? And if it pays off, he could find himself in the top three. But what it does do for top runners is it allows Harry to claw back these front running guys who he just couldn't quite get to grips with. So it'll give him an opportunity to try and tackle these guys and have another run at them, and hopefully for his sake and the Williams' sake that they don't run away with it this time, because you remember earlier in the race Boy Better Know did have a brief go, didn't he, at Gamer, so there's opportunities there still. So this safety car period is definitely going to throw a spanner in the works for everybody.
Very ominous dark clouds starting to appear above the circuit as we're on board with Jumper Line, and you can see that dark cloud just above the exit of the final corner and the stadium section that peels round to the left hand side there. So yeah, clouds are forming, and Jumper Line possibly thinking that he can come in and use this safety car to look after these tyres, but we're back under green at the end of this, and Gamer has let the safety car go. And when's he going to put the hammer down? It looks like he's already gone behind. KJ Elting loses the car before we've even got to the line. KJ can come across the track, and it's huge crash there between Scorts, Foxy Red, who just come in, and it's just about this chaos on the final corner, just about everyone holding on to the position, but there's chaos on the exit as KJ loses the car back into the middle of the track, and he's unfortunately collected by the Alfa Romeo Foxy Red 2000. We're under a yellow flag still in sector 3. How that didn't bring out the safety car once again, because CRG Gamer now leads the race. Harry in second position, Boy Better Know up to third.
Now, I have to say, KJ, he was at massive fault there. He was always going to come back into traffic with the amount of people backed up by the safety car. He unfortunately would have had to have let everybody go, but I think he was just that eager to try and get going again. He unfortunately collected Fox Red, and that's ruined a potential big battle there between KJ and Gamer. So it allows now Harry to get up into second place, but Harry already on this lap after the safety car has already dropped 1.8 seconds to Gamer, so Gamer not messing about.
No, not at all. But you can see possibly Harry will be looking for the rain period. He might fare himself a little bit better in the wet weather. Behind, we've still got battles going on. You can see Scott is going to once again play rear gunner for Harry. He's in third position with Charlie and Sam having held on to their positions. Jumper Line now up into sixth. Great result so far for Jumper Line. He's now just going to look after these tyres. Behind then we've got TL44S doing a great job with the Mercedes up into seventh position. Scopefielder has got Cliffy all over the back of him, having a look into turn one as Charlie picks up 3 seconds there. We'll see if we get any more penalties. We saw a couple of drivers running wide on the exit of turn one. Cliffy looking very pacey in towards turn 2, and he's going to get a mega toe off of the Haas and of the Alfa Romeo. So will we see a couple of moves down here? You can see cars starting to line each other up. White Fountain closing in on Scopefielder, the Belgian driver taking to the inside to the Swedish driver. Can he get the move down into the hairpin? And this is going to open the door possibly for Cliffy, who's going to have a look to the inside. No, he thinks better of it, but White Fountain does get the move on Scopefielder, moving up into 8th position.
Hercules has also got some moves done. The man who's just had a race to forget is now into 12th place, and right on the back of this battle you was just calling there, you can see a full train of cars here as those that run slightly wide. So still not out of possibility of Hercules scoring points tonight. He's definitely got the pace when he's on it, and at the moment it's Cliffy's trying to send one. Wow, I've never seen people overtake there before, and Scopefielder caught napping slightly, and Cliffy says thank you very much, and Hercules also thinks about sending a move on the second to last corner, and Hercules gets the move done. All those, that's some fantastic overtaking there in places I've never really seen overtaking.
Lozak into the box, and so the Swiss driver coming in. Of course, that was Ice-T taking a trip to downtown Hockenheim there as he went sailing on the outside of turn 1. Adri picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 13th position. But yeah, the extra grip that Cliffy had on those medium tyres compared against Scopefielder's hard tyres coming into full effect there at the entry of the Sachs corner at turn 12 as he got up the inside. Great move from him. So the Racing Point now up into 9th position. We were saying that he does a great job fighting through the field, and he did just that. He's now up into 9th position, having started in 19th, so 10 positions gained as Beck now picks up 3 seconds. We've got Scott still holding off the likes of Charlie and Sam for 4th and 5th position. playing the team game, but Harry falling as there we go.
Rain.
We've just seen flashes up, and it's now raining on track. We've got 22 of 34 laps done, so we were told 45 minutes. We've now got plenty of time before the end of this race where we're going to see the weather potentially come into play. And will we see it get to intermediate conditions? Will we see it do that place where it kind of tiptoes around dry to wet conditions? It looks as though at the moment it's going to be relatively just spitting and spotting, so the drivers shouldn't have to worry about it. It's when you see that DRS get deactivated, that's the time to bail into the pit lane and go onto those green intermediate tyres.
This is really starting to benefit John Pillai now, and he's closed in on Sam Pepito really rapidly, and he's got DRS now. Sam under massive pressure. Sam also got DRS from Charlie, so John Pillai not be able to use the DRS to full effect as Sam will be able to defend, but John Pillai now right onto the back of the pack of this fighting for second place pretty much, as Harry is falling away from CRG Gamer, but John Pillai is definitely in a shout here for a potential podium place.
Yeah, as Cliffy now up into 7th position, so the Racing Point is really making moves after seeing his teammate involved in a massive collision with Foxy Red 2000 on just before we'd even got to the green flag line at the exit before the end of the safety car. He lost it at the turn 15 curb. Came back across the corner, and the Racing Point colliding with the Alfa Romeo, who was unfortunately pretty despondent with that after thinking that he could have made waves towards the end of that race and pushed for some decent points tonight. But Jumper Liner now looking to the inside. This is not an overtaking position, and he sends it down the inside. Samu Pepito saw him coming and looks as though he got out the throttle a little bit there, but great move from Jumper Liner, showing off why he was last season's IRL F1 champion.
That was fantastic. I was saying the same as you then in my head. I was thinking surely he's not going to try one there and just wait for the DRS, but no, he thought better of it, and he's off now. Next up is his target is Charlie. He's just about 1.2 seconds behind, but I'm sure on these soft tyres, Charlie on those hard tyres, remember, John Pillai should be able to reel him in quickly. But remember, Charlie's got 6 seconds worth of time penalties, and I also wanted to point out Scott, just ahead of Charlie, has got 3 seconds worth of time penalties. So at the moment, as long as John Pillai keeps on track and doesn't really pick up any penalties, positions for podiums is well in his grasp here, as he's now starting to reel in the McLaren driver.
This is going to be a fascinating, as Jumper Line feathering the throttle there as he comes up to the Sachs curve here, and yeah, those soft tyres, they don't last too long, so he's done 6 laps on them, but you've got to think that it's going to be a little bit of an advantage for him for maybe the next lap and a half or so, because the soft tyre holds more temperature in it, and of course when the track temperature is lowering due to the rain, these guys in the hard tyres will start to struggle more than the guys that are running around on the soft rubber. So as Hercules now closes in on Fountain, that's going to be a close battle, as you can see the German on the Belgian coming out of the first corner. He's going to get a good run on him. Jumper will keep an eye on Jumper Lion and his progress on that soft rubber. But yeah, the guys on the hard tyres will struggle more compared to the guys on the mediums and on the softs. Here comes Hercules. He's going to get a good run on Fountain. Fountain goes to the inside line to go defensive. Hercules goes to the outside. Will he be able to hold it around the outside on the White Fountain in the Haas? And last season's Constructors champion White Fountain just about gets in a straight line, because he really struggled off the exit there. You can see he's now under threat from TL44S.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. Charlie just run very wide at the Mercedes stand, and it almost opened the door up for John Pillai, and John Pillai sent one down the inside. They were side by side, and unfortunately for John Pillai, he just couldn't quite get the moves done, and Charlie looking like he's really started to struggle in these conditions on those hard tyres, as John Pillai is chomping at the bit to try and get the move on. But John Pillai's had enough of those soft tyres, and John Pillai is into the pits. As you said, these soft tyres weren't going to last much longer, and so it's proved John Pillai has given up on those soft tyres. Will he be coming in for another set of soft tyres, or what will he be coming in for a set of mediums? What is he going to be doing? Oh, he's putting intermediates on. So here we go. John Pillai is the first person to react, and he's chucked on a set of intermediates. Will this pay off for him?
Well, the DRS hasn't been disabled yet, so this is a huge risk for last season champion. And the Finn, you can see the rain is really starting to come down now in here in Hockenheim, so it's might not be too long before we see it go to intermediate conditions, but there's no spray coming off the tyres, so it's a big risk from him. And I don't know, big risk, big reward, but then equally, is it going to be a little bit too early? You can see blue skies still above the circuit slightly, but Charlie picks up another 3 seconds there. So the McLaren driver currently in 4th position is starting to hurt on those time penalties. But Jumperlinen, we'll see if he's losing time or if he's gaining time on the current man ahead of him, which is Warrislander, who equally came in under a safety car and put a set of soft tyres on. So Speed Queen and Beck also into the box. They've gone for the intermediates, hoping to get a jump on the rest of the field. But this is a big ask for those guys.
And I think it might be too early. Jumperlinen was about 6.5 seconds behind Warrislander as he come out of the pits. It's already 8.2 seconds, 8.3 seconds now, just on this lap alone. So Jumperlinen, I think, is just coming too early for these intermediate tyres. As you say, there's no real spray yet. Boy better know. I was right on board with Boy better know because he's trying to reel in Harry. Boy better he got onto the curb and almost lost that. Williams just about held on to it. Harry just staying there in 2nd place, but yeah, Boy better just about hanging on there. I think for me, we got a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2.
It's the Heist T who seems to have lost it. Is that because he's had a spin on this greasy track? We'll see if there's any wing damage on that Mercedes. Doesn't look like it. We've now got a yellow in sector 3. Is that for any of our runners on the intermediate tyres? Of course, it is a struggle out there for some of these guys. This Jumperlinen now closes in on Lozak. So maybe Lozak that's had a spin on these tyres. Jumperlinen closing in on the Red Bull driver. And we're now under yellow once again in sector 3. So drivers possibly out there struggling as Charlie now gets past Scott. What's happened to Scott? Scott's gone deep, and that's allowed Cliffy and Sam and Charlie up into third. So surely Scott must have gone wide. Does he come into the pit lane? He does. So into the pit box comes a lot of drivers. We've got Sam, we've got Scott, we've got Hercules, we've got Fountain, all coming into the pit lane this lap, leaving Gamer, Charlie, Harry and Cliffy out there on the dry tyres.
So yeah, just to put out, the person that was causing all the issues was Bet 9000. Bet 9000's lost it again at turn 1. Bet 9000 is the one that was causing all those yellow flags around sector 3, and now he's caused the yellow flag at sector 1. He's on the intermediate tyres and he's just burning up those intermediate tyres. Unfortunately, he cannot get that car going, and that is the cause of the yellow flags. But yeah, as you see, a lot of cars coming into the pits for intermediate tyres. This could be the time for him now, as CRG Gamer is just in a world of his own at the moment, isn't he, at the front with 5.5 second lead over Harry.
Yeah, and even here you can see really patient on the throttle here, and of course these guys in IRL F1 all running no assists, so no ABS to help you, no traction control to help you. You can see just lifting through turn 11, just coasting around this corner into the Sachs curb. Is he going to just about hold on to it? You can see just rolling around the corner, using the gradient of the corner to turn the car, and surely it's into the box of the race leader at the end of this lap, and he does peel in, so just about using this lap to get in. But equally Harry's struggling. Harry's into the box as well. We've got FPL Charlie following Harry in, and Cliffy in, so surely we'll see TL44S and Adri following those guys in. Sam Pepito out there on the intermediate tyres. What's happened? What have we got?
White Fountain has lost it. White Fountain was in a battle, I think, with Scopefielder, and has lost it just before the stadium section. Found himself facing the wrong way, and unfortunately that has dropped him down to 13th place, and without a possibility now of a fight. I don't know if he picked up any wing damage. He looked like he hit the wall, but unfortunately for White Fountain, dropped him right out of contention now. As you see, a few of the cars, the final remaining cars, coming in as we've got another yellow flag in sector 3. So yeah, it's all a bit of a disaster at the moment for people out there, as these conditions just are slowly progressing to get even worse.
Yeah, so you can see Sam Pepito making up positions under, or using that one lap undercut compared to what Charlie did. Charlie's going to think about coming back at the Spaniard, but as Ice-T retiring from the session, and we're now yellow in sector 3, and unfortunately his race is run in Mercedes, and in front of the home fans for Mercedes is now up to TL44S, who's in 8th position. He's closing in on Jumperline, and we're yellow in sector 1 as well. We've got Beck into the box once again. again, the Scotsman in the Toro Rosso really struggling in these conditions as the track started getting greasier and slippier. But yeah, Sam was the beneficiary of all this chaos with with the yellows and all of the pit stops, because he's managed to jump past FPL Charlie and Scott and Cliffy into third position using that undercut on the intermediate rubber. Gamers maintained a 6-second lead. It's now up to 6.8 over Harry, who's got a 2.1 second lead back to the likes of Sam, Charlie and Scott. Jumper line now is 3.4 seconds behind Cliffy. Cliffy's starting to look very racy indeed. He's now up to 6th position. He's making absolute inroads on the top runners in this race.
If Cliffy could nail qualifying, you would imagine he'd be one of the favourites for the race this season. Just race pace. Cliffy just knows how to get it done. He's up 13 places into 6th. This superb drive from him so far. He's just nailed it all. He's not got any problems as FPL Charlie gets the jump on Sam. So Sam dropping back down into 4th place. But FPL Charlie, remember, has got 9 seconds worth of penalties. So if Charlie's going to try and get rid of those 9 seconds worth of penalties, he's going to have to start to get a move on and try and pull away from Sam. But you can imagine with only 4 laps remaining, Charlie is going to find himself falling way down the order at the end of the race with those 9 seconds worth of penalties. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3, but that's soon cleared.
We've got a lot of drivers battling for position, and in TL4S thinking to go to the inside of Neredo of jumper line and just about maintain, or I say just about manages to not get contact, but he then is almost collected by the McLaren, as that was a little bit messy there. He just threw it down the inside a little bit too deep, almost collected the Renault, and unfortunately ended up losing the position. So TL44S a little bit brave, and it's cost him a position. Jumper line and just about keeping control of the car there. He's kicked the rear end out on the exit of the final corner at a Sud curve, and now into the Nord curve, and it's turn 1, and these guys battling over 7th position. Beck picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 16th position. Jumper Linen has now got last season's title rival VL Hercules for company for 7th and 8th position. This is a battle that we were used to seeing plenty of times last season. However, it was for the lead of the race and not 7th position.
Yeah, definitely. Hercules will be wanting to try and claw back some points as much as possible here. Hercules, since he's gone on his intermediate tyres, as John Polina has gone deep there, and Hercules just seems to have settled quickly onto these intermediate tyres compared to a few people around him, and Hercules now will be wanting to try and get the move done on John Polina and potentially then try and reel in Cliffy. But Cliffy at the moment is doing a stellar job, and he's just about hanging on to Scott for about half a second, and he can eye up a potential podium himself here, Cliffy, because Cliffy can see 3rd place FPL Charlie, and like I said, Charlie with 9 seconds worth of penalties. So if he can get some moves done on Boy Better Know and Sam, there's a huge possibility he'll start from the back and finish on the podium.
Yeah, he's the biggest mover in the race so far. 13 positions gained. VL Hercules, of course, has lost the most in 5th position now with if you discount Beck, who unfortunately after starting on softs has seen his race kind of fall apart, and the Toro Rosso has really struggled in the first 4 races and now first 5 races of the season, yet to finish a race so far, and he's in 16th position, looking unlikely that he's going to maintain it. The track now starting to get very slippery indeed. You can see the sheen of the rain and the water on the circuit. So these guys, we're not under heavy rain, so we won't be expecting to go to heavy weather. It's just to the in or the outside goes Cliffy, but Scott holding him off, but almost losing control on the exit. That's going to allow Cliffy a better run on the Williams driver, and Scott has to relinquish the positions. Cliffy now up into 5th position, and Scott, he's been putting in hours and hours of practice this week, hoping to get a foothold back in the championship, but yeah, he's now down to 6th position. Cliffy, great run from him. The Racing Point now up to 5th.
Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3, and it's for a slow running Hercules. I have not a clue what's happened there, but Hercules is running very slow indeed. He did get the move done on John Polina, and John Polina now back ahead of him, and Hercules is now in between the Warrislander and John Polina and Hercules. I don't know what caused that slow running, but Beck 9000 has retired from the session. But yeah, Hercules was running very slow, but he seems to be back underway again, so I'm not sure what really happened with him.
there must have been contact between Hercules and Jumperline, and both have dropped down from 7th and 8th to 9th and 10th, so there must have been contact between last season's title rivals. And in the wet conditions, you can see struggling to keep it on the track at the turn 1 as Adri picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's in 12th position. A couple of about a second and a bit down outside of the points, but of course those penalties at the end of the race will hurt. And under these conditions, we're on the penultimate lap of the race as Hercules gets a run on Jumperline. He's on the outside, so these two once again are going to trade positions. This Jumperline is going to try and stick with it into the inside line. He's got that nicer, tighter inside. Hercules is going to just about hold on to it, tapping the front wheel and side pod of the Renault, and he gets up past his former rival and up into 9th position. Those two battling way down the order, but up the field we've got 33 out of 34 laps done. CRG Gamer leads Harry by 9 seconds. He's absolutely blitzed his title rival this week, and Harry has got a lot of work to do if he is to catch up to Gamer in the championship, who's going to extend that lead. Cliffy, however, is the man that's been on a mission so far this race, and he's cleared Scott, who's now dropped to over around a second and a half behind the racing point. And Cliffy now, he then picks up a penalty as I go on board of him. So yeah, we'll add that one to the commentators' curse list. So Cliffy possibly hurting himself in a bid to pick up a podium. But we're now on the last lap of the race here in the Hockenheim Ring in Germany. We've got CRG Gamer leading Harry with Charlie in 3rd position, but Charlie might miss out with Sam in 4th position for a podium. So we'll go on board with our race leader, who's coming up to the Mercedes Stadium section now. As you can see, the Mercedes stand on the right hand side, it's just out of shot, but now into the final sector for our current championship standings leader, as I could learn to pronounce my words correctly, but into the Sachs curve. And CRG Gamer has been absolutely mighty tonight. Had a brilliant battle with KJ Eltink. Unfortunately, that was taken away from us with a mistake from the Racing Point driver, but one man's loss is another man's gain, and that man that's gained is CRG Gamer 62, and he comes across the line to win another race this season, and it's a fantastic one for the Renault. Harry will come home in 2nd position, so he doesn't ship too many points to his title rival. Charlie is in 3rd position. Will he drop down to Sam, who is in 3rd? Yeah, he does drop behind Sam. So Sam picks up a podium. Scott jumps Charlie. TL44S, great result from him in 6th position. Cliffy, with that late penalty, he's dropped into 6th. Scopefielder is in 7th. And Hercules, frustrating, in 9th position. He's going to drop to 10th behind Jumperline, and then behind outside the points you've got Warrislander, Fountain, White, Adri who's jumped by Lozak, and Speed Queen is the last one across the line, who equally jumps Adri. So Adri finishes last of the runners on penalties and ends a bit of a breathless race.
Yeah, it was indeed, and huge congratulations to Gamer. He was eventually in a class of his own, wasn't he? KJ pushed him as hard as possibly can, and unfortunately that mistake just after the safety car had gone in really cost him, and in a way cost us a great battle for the lead in the end, but thoroughly deserved Gamer tonight. He was absolutely superb. Harry doing what he can, coming home in 2nd, scoring good points, but unfortunately it is losing more points out to Gamer, and it was a good result in the end for Sam as well, who eventually jumped Charlie due to those penalties. But I have to say, what a race it was from Cliffy, from the back to finish in the points like that. He was superb. Unfortunately, those penalties just cost him an opportunity for potentially 4th or 5th, but in the end, 7th place is a decent result there for him.
And top 3, CRG Gamer, Harry and Sam, without penalties. Gamer finishing the race in 45 minutes and 58 seconds, going from 2nd to 1st on the grid. You can see also picking up, was that fastest lap of the race? He just misses out there to White Fountain, I believe, or a couple of drivers. Cliffy, I think, might have snatched it, but Harry in 2nd, Sam in 3rd, Scott in 4th, Charlie in 5th, TL44S, and you've got Cliffy, Scopefield, Jumperline, and Hercules round out the top 10. And of course, then we had a couple of DNFs from the likes of Beck, Ice-T, Foxy Red, and KJ Eltink, who were involved in that massive crash on the restart to the race after the safety car came out. And CRG Gamer now moves up into onto 60 points in the championship. Harry now onto 49, so it's 11-point gap between the two as we enter the 6th round of the season in Brazil in a week's time, before we go on to the 1 week break, sorry, at the end of round 6 before round 7, where we go to the Hungaroring in Hungary at Budapest. So Gamer extending that lead he's got in the championship. Harry, however, I'm sure will be happy just to pretty much hold Gamer to as many, or to the least amount of points gained as possible. These two really starting to dominate this season. Sam picking up a second podium of the season in 3rd position. I'm sure Charlie will be pretty irritated. He was on for his first podium of the season. He's in 5th position in the championship, but yeah, he's now will give up that position to the likes of Sam, who will jump him up into 5th position. So yeah, Charlie just once again struggling to get the job done and pick up almost snatched his first ever victory here last season, and unfortunately loses out on the podium this week. So yeah, possibly Germany not his best track. And Sab, we look back through that and we thought we had a magnificent quali lap from KJ Elting. We saw a great battle brewing between the pair. KJ starting to struggle on those tyres. It allowed Gamer back into play, but unfortunately, under safety car, KJ just loses the car and unfortunately collects the Alfa Romeo of Foxy Red 2000. But it kind of stripped away what was looking to be a really fun battle.
It really did, and you got a feel for Foxy. He just had absolutely no chance with that racing point coming onto the track. KJ just getting probably a bit too eager at the start, I'd have to say, and unfortunately found himself drifting out. But yeah, Game, I think in the end just proved that he had a bit over KJ, and KJ was probably pushing a bit too hard, and unfortunately that was the end of his race for him. But that allowed the likes of Harry and Sam to benefit and gain places on him, because at that point KJ looked like he was at least set for second place, as we now are joined by tonight's podium sitters.
We are indeed. So just double check that everyone has got their settings correct. So always allowed to be shared, so everyone can hear you chatting on stream. But of course, we'll go for the 3rd time this season to the man that's standing on the top step of the podium. That is CRG Gamer 62. And congratulations, buddy! Another race win, and this one in mixed conditions. So how tricky was it out there in the last stint in that race?
Um, well, yeah. I mean, especially when it started to rain, it was quite tricky to spot the transition point to the intermediates. But I mean, once KJ had gone, it was sort of just survival till the end. But which is a shame, because he was really quick, and I think it would definitely been close to the end. But worked out in my favour, I suppose. So yeah, just keeping on the track in the end and getting the win.
So, like you say, we were kind of robbed of this nice little battle between yourself and KJ, who did seem to have some pretty decent pace tonight. But like you say, one man's loss is another man's gain, as they usually say, and you can't really complain when you see, especially under safety car, lost control of the car and put it into, unfortunately, the path of one of the Alfa Romeos. But when you're in a position like that, when you are leading and then you lose a potential rival, is it a different mindset? Do you just think, well, it's just essentially concentrating on your own race now, and just because you looked as though you had the pace on Harry throughout the race, you were stretching a lead. So is it easy just to get into the mindset of just concentrating on your own race, or are you still working on extending that gap?
Um, I mean, at the start of the stint, I was sort of, I want to extend the gap in case there was another safety car, in case they spotted the transition point for the intermediates a bit better. They're like, say they pit a lap earlier or a lap later, and it turned out to be the better call. Then obviously I needed the gap just in case that was the case. But yeah, other than that, I was just looking after my own race, trying to drive as best as I possibly could without getting any penalties or spinning out in the wet conditions. So.
Yeah, well, congratulations! It's the 3rd race winner of the season for you, and I'm sure the man in second position, who we'll move on to now, will be shaking his fist up there, because Harry not quite close enough to Gamer tonight to be able to close in on him and make it a battle between the two men that are currently standing at the top of the championship.
No, no, not at all. I'm still very, very happy because I was by no way was I the second quickest on track. I was probably wasn't even fourth. I think Hercules, KJ, and probably Scott was probably faster than me. So I had to make the most of all opportunities. I think once KJ spun on the safety car restart, 'cause I nearly did the same thing because the tyres are so cold. I think game already had like a 1.5 second gap, and I was pushing, but very quickly I realised he was just too quick, and just became a just sort of defensive race really from then on.
We saw you obviously trading positions with your teammates Scott, Boy Ben, and OSB a couple of times. Was that a case of towards the end of that first stint? Was that just a case of seeing if Scott could close in on KJ and Gamer, or was it just purely a mistake on your part that allowed him through?
No, we wasn't really looking at the top two. I think well, we wanted to close up obviously, but I think we was more interested in trying to break the DOS of Sam and Charlie, and I think I just had a bad exit out on the corner, so yeah, I think once we was quite close, we just said, just go past. But I think we have quite similar pace. But I think if there's no, it's hard to see who's quick or not because DOS is so strong. But I think if there's no DOS, I think Scott's probably a little bit quicker than me. But no, tricky conditions, tough race, and we're after tricky Spain race, so it's good to be back on podium.
Yeah, and second position is the best you could hope for with the title rival picking up the race win tonight, and that puts you on to 49 points, so 11 points gap between the pair of you going into round 6 next week. So all still to play for, with plenty of racing left to go in this season. And on to third position, and Sam, it's a welcome return back to the podium for Sam in third position. Just snatched it on the line with Charlie suffering with a late penalty. So yeah, you've got to be happy with that third position finish tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I knew Charlie had penalties, so I was just keeping it clean. It seems like the wet really helps me in the races because the same happened in Spa. And yeah, I just took the opportunities. I wasn't even close to the pace of the top guys, but I just kept it clean, consistent, and yeah, some good points after Spain, which was a poor race. So I'll try to keep it consistent from now on and try to pick up the most points.
Yeah, well, you've done a great job tonight, and to pick up a second podium of the season, is this putting you in possibly the chance of pushing for that? I don't know how far up the standings do you think you can go? Harry and Gamer seem to be stretching a bit of a lead out the front. You've got Hercules behind, who had a poor race tonight, so he's dropped points. So that might put you. I think that's just put you behind Hercules in the battle for that third position in the championship. So is that really the aim tonight, or the aim for this season, or are you still pushing possibly to get towards where Harry and Gamer are in the championship?
Well, I think we have like is this the sixth, fifth race? So I think we have like decent amount of races, but I think it's not enough. And yeah, I think it's Gamer Harry, and then there's another tier like maybe Scott, Hercules, and me for third position. So I think realistically, I'm gonna say just to be third, which is gonna be tough, of course. And yeah, I think the win is gonna, I mean the championship win is gonna be very tough, or even second position. So yeah, third should be fine.
Well, yeah, congratulations for a second podium of the season tonight. More points in the bag for Haas, and more points to push yourself up the championship standings. And finally, one more question back to the race winner, to CRG Gamer 62. And Germany's done in the books now. We'll move on to Brazil next week and over to Interlagos. It's another track where we often see rain affect the race. And we've seen you go well in the past. I was looking back through the history books, and you've done quite nicely over in Brazil. So you must be pretty confident going through to it.
Yeah, Brazil's a good track. I mean, we did that Easter egg race for IRL on last Wednesday. That was at Brazil, and we won that. So, with any luck, should be doing decent again. We a lot about quali because obviously the ice and slipstream is quite powerful. So, a good qualifying and maybe a bit of rain again would be nice to spice things up.
Absolutely, and we couldn't hope for more. So congratulations tonight. Another brilliant win for yourself, and another win for Renault, who stretched their lead in the Constructors' Championship as well. So yeah, great race from everyone on the podium tonight, and thanks for joining us. You're welcome to shoot off as Sab and I wrap up what has been a pretty tasty race tonight. We saw a brilliant qualifying lap for KJ Eltink. Unfortunately, the Dutchman could not translate it through to a race victory after losing it on the restart after the safety car and putting it in the path of an Alfa Romeo. And Sab, so much went on tonight. We saw so many overtakes from a lot of different drivers. So where's the highlights from tonight?
Oh, that is a very good question. Where's the highlights? We had so many great battles throughout the race tonight, and that sprinkling of rain certainly added to it. I have to agree with what Sam was saying. It was all about being consistent tonight and just making sure you keep it on the track. And like Sam, in the end, he benefited from that and getting the third place tonight, with Gamer as well being very consistent as ever this season, claiming another victory. But I just wanted to point out once more again just how great it was. I watched a lot of Cliffy's race, and that was a great race to watch. There were so many great battles for him, but overall, I feel one person I do feel kind of sorry for was Scott. Scott drove superbly all race, and as you pointed out during the race, he's put in many hours of practice for this race. Unfortunately, it just went away from him in the end, and just wasn't quite the race he probably expected. I think he'd have wanted at least a podium tonight, but overall I think it's definitely now going to look like it's going to be a two-way fight for the title. But going into next week, I think Harry certainly needs to get the jump on Gamer, because Gamer keeps extending this lead, doesn't he? He's extended it again tonight, so Harry will definitely not be wanting Gamer to be doing that again next week. Otherwise, that gap will become slightly too big for him to catch. So next week it will be definitely interesting to see how this battle commences.
Yeah, it definitely looks as though it is starting to be a two-horse race leading forwards. And next week we do head over to Interlagos and we go to the Brazilian Grand Prix for round 6, the IRL F1 League. And of course, you can find out more about Invictus by going to invictusracingleague.com. Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook and on Instagram, and of course on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Of course, if you enjoyed the race, press the like button and ring the bell to be notified for every time we go live with a new video, which will of course be Mondays for the IRL F1 League, Tuesdays for the IRL Realistic Performance League, and Wednesdays for the IRL F2 and F3 equal performance leagues. And of course now on twitch.tv on Sunday nights 9:30 p.m. you can watch the IRL F1 XBOX League. That's a lot of different ways to say that. And yeah, so plenty of racing here throughout the week, all in Germany. And one quick one before we go, and we'd just like to send out our condolences, of course, and add our positive thoughts and deepest support to all involved in the NHS, who continuously work hard throughout this terrible situation we're in. And equally, we pass out our condolences to the family of Sir Sterling Moss, who unfortunately lost his life this week. And it was a very sad day for all involved in the F1 community, with the greatest driver to never win the F1 World Championship and affectionately known as Mr. Motorsport in the F1 paddock, and a really, really lovely gentleman, and has fantastic memories. And if you ever get a chance to look at some of the old races and see what Sir Sterling did, then I implore you to check them out, because they were absolutely superb. Some of the racing that he did all around the world was spectacular, and a man that will be sorely missed in the F1 paddock, I'm very, very sure. But for tonight, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the IRL F1 League here in Germany. Round 5 is now done. We head over to Brazil next week, where you can join Sab and I on Monday night, 8 p.m. as usual for that one. So have a great week, guys. Stay safe, keep a smile on your face, and we will see you very, very shortly. Good night.